welcome to Artisserie Chicken. I'm Anna Leckie.
And I'm Jacob Worthington.
And we are bringing you a weird, funky, strange, historical podcast today where we talk about the craziest zoo mishaps. What could go wrong?
I don't know, but you did start right before this. You go, some of these are sad.
Some of them are sad. And
some of these are sad.
I'm going to try to do my best to bring a level of comedic relief to this because that's the whole point of this podcast is we do talk about weird, crazy, strange stuff, some of which are serious, but we also are goofy and silly.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was doing research for this episode, I noticed that some of these are straight bummers. And I'm not even going to skirt past that. And that's okay. But I think some of them are relevant to our timelines and to the fate of the world as we know it.
Some of them may even have pushed us psychically into a different set of timelines in a parallel dimension.
Correct. And we'll get into that. So I think beginning this, it's hard to talk about zoo mishaps without talking about zoos. Kind of as a blanket statement here that they've been ethical kind of murky grounds.
We've talked about this a lot, not on the pod, but together because we love zoos. Mm-hmm. Everywhere we go, we find out they got a zoo. And not all zoos are created equal.
Yeah, and we do a lot of animal tourism.
Mm-hmm. I freaking
love it. That's why I travel most of the time.
We like to get a little passport for a kangaroo and then take that kangaroo to see the world. That's the animal tourism we're into.
Exactly. We did hold a little baby kangaroo at the last place we went to.
But we go to a lot of zoos and, like the big zoos are fun. They're cool. Everything's very expansive. And then sometimes we'll go to like a town and it'll be like, come to the Chickapika Reserve Zoo. Yeah. And then you get there and you're just like...
And there's a black bear in the back corner trying to hang himself and trying to commit suicide. And
there's a panda and you realize it's just like a cow painted like a panda. And you're like, this is sad.
Yeah, I think there are a good bit of the zoos that we go to are rehabilitation zoos, which I love. I think the purpose there is great where they find animals who are hurt or sick in the wild and wouldn't survive without their help, and so they kind of create a zoo, an attraction to fund this animal rehabilitation.
I think it's the difference between Joe Exotic and Carol Baskins. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like Carol Baskins. Well, it's just Carol Baskins was like, we take big cats that can't go anywhere else, and they have like a volunteer system and. You actually can't like get in. It's like hard to see the animals because they live in like a habitat that's more like their habitat. Mm-hmm. And then Joe Exotic was like, who wants to pet a cub? And he's just like launching cubs out of t-shirt guns.
Yeah, and those poor tigers were often mistreated. Mm-hmm. And when you take a wild animal who has wild animal needs and then put them in captivity, they often can't meet those needs. And sometimes they're living a life that I think is not meant for them and is meant for economic interest. And that's my qualm with some of this. And we'll see in some of these stories that stuff goes wrong when you take a wild freaking animal who's literally one of your natural predators, put it in a cage, either mistreat it or don't give it what it needs. Like shit pops off. Yeah. Point blank. Point blank. So, Let's get this out of the way. We're going to start with the orca and the SeaWorld incident, which is, this kicked off a world of hurt for SeaWorld, kicked off this documentary called Blackfish, which detailed the cruel and inhumane living conditions of the killer whales within SeaWorld. Did you ever watch Blackfish?
No, I don't like stuff like that.
Me neither. I watched some of it and I was like, I can't because I will literally lay and sob for hours watching. Like, I will be bedridden with depression from stuff like that because it's just awful.
When it comes to documentaries about torture and capture, I like to stick to the ones about people.
the mild ones.
When it's animals, it just hurts a little harder, I think.
Same. But passing over the kind of like grave details of their captivity, which if you're interested in that, you can look it up, and you can also watch Blackfish. This killer whale orca named Tilikum killed his trainer Don Brancho during a live performance, which is just metal. Tilikum weighed over 12,000 pounds and had already been linked to 2 other human deaths, that's wild. So he pulled the trainer into the water by her ponytail and held her under and thrashed violently, killing her. So of course this live audience was just terrified by this attack, and the trainer was well loved, and her death sparked global outrage, not just over the incident, but the conditions that the whale had been held in that led up to it. So the Tilikum had been in captivity since a baby, since he was a calf, which is what they're called.
Interesting.
Yeah. And in a nutshell, they're held in these little tiny concrete tanks that they barely have any room to move, when naturally an orca swims 100 miles a day sometimes.
Damn.
So, I mean, this orca was like, you know what? I'm going to rock your world, lady, because that was like the whitest thing I've ever said. I'm gonna rock your world, lady.
Tilikum, more like killed them, am I right?
Tilikum. So the orca just snapped and was like, I'm not doing your stupid fucking tricks. I hate living here. I hate the food here. I hate the people here. Y'all all suck. And he killed the trainer.
And you know, we may cut this because we may not want you guys to know this about me and Anna, but we did swim with some dolphins when we were at the beach a couple of years ago.
But they seemed to have a good time. Like, I don't think they were...
But how do you know that?
That's true.
How do you know that?
That's true. Well, where we went, I will say this, where we went, it was in a beach town with a really famous college that was tied, they did sea life research, so it was a big aquatic college, and they did pride themselves on the dolphins having good conditions, and that was something that they advertised.
The people seemed very nice, and they seemed very into like respecting the dolphins' autonomy, so that was cool. But then at the same time, it's just like they swim 300 miles or 100 miles a day or whatever it is. Like, do dolphins do that? Like, how much room does a dolphin need? Because it wasn't where we were.
Yeah.
The dolphins were slick, though.
They were
slick. They actually threw us.
They were strong.
Dude.
I did not know how strong they were.
Makes me wonder, like, what being hit by a shark full speed chompers out must feel like.
It probably feels like being hit by a car.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're the size of a car.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You remind me of that guy from Love on the Spectrum.
Good.
Who dated... who dated the one girl who likes the dolls. And every time she talked to me, he goes, oh, yeah.
Oh, that guy's the best, though. I'm glad that guy, the one with the cowboy hat who loves country music.
He goes, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They were like the quintessential... We're getting on the side
This is not a ZOO Mishap.
But they were the quintessential golden retriever black cat.
A spectrum zoo. Mm-hmm. When you go to watch them in there.
We're gonna cut that. Anna basically equated Love on the Spectrum to a zoo of autistic people. She's like, you get to watch them in their natural habitat.
We love zoos.
I thought you were going to say we love autism.
I'm canceled. Hey, I told you I was going to make jokes. Christ alive.
All right.
Anyways... What's your positioning on this? Are you pro or against whale killing trainer?
I mean, I'm kind of against it, but it's one of those things where it's like, I think they killed the wrong person.
Yeah,
you know, because it's like you're mad at SeaWorld, which is a outgrowth of probably like a corporation that's profit over fish, which they're not fish, they're mammals, but profit over animal. And this girl is probably just some girl who's just like, I love animals and want to work and this is my dream, and went to school to be like a marine biologist, and she probably loved the little critter that drowned her at the bottom of the pool.
So what you're saying to me is that Tillicum should have gone for the CEO.
Should have gone to the top. Should have been Tillicum Mangione. Is what you see like a little like what is it? Orca whale is wearing like a hoodie and he's just like sneaking up behind the president of SeaWorld.
And everybody's like, why is that whale hot?
He could Tillicum in me all day.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. All right. This one, put your thinking caps on here.
Mm-hmm.
In 2016, the world was so great. The economy wasn't shit. You know, we had
Simpler
Akon
times.
making good fucking music.
Young Jeezy was still young.
We had a bunch of shit that was just going well for us. Until a 3-year-old boy fell into a gorilla enclosure, meeting Harambe, a 17-year-old silverback. Harambe grabbed the child, and then zookeepers subsequently shot him to save the boy. If you don't know where you were when Harambe died, I don't trust you.
Or you're 8 years old.
Or you weren't alive.
You weren't alive or you were too young to know.
So this sparked global outrage. Do you remember?
Because the silverback community was like, this is normal silverback child protective behavior. And so the way the silverback was treating the kid was the way they would treat their own kid if they felt like they needed to like keep or manage this child. But he was slinging him around like a rag doll.
Was he?
I mean, not really, but he was dragging this kid. It's just like,
was a girl, I think. Was it? Yeah, Harambe was a girl.
What? We're gonna have to cut that. I can't misgender Harambe.
Oh, male.
No, male. Anna canceled twice in a row. 3 more, and she's out.
Gender's made up. All right, so this, everybody got really upset because they're like, they didn't think that Harambe was trying to hurt the kid. They just thought that Harambe just got the kid and was trying to, like you said, care for it.
Yeah, it was exhibiting normal gorilla behavior. The problem is a gorilla baby is a little bit sturdier than a baby child.
Yeah.
A human child.
But were they, how do you agree with the action of having to kill Harambe, or should they have just gone in and gotten the child?
I think you got to do what you got to do to protect the kid. There's a hierarchy in our civilization, and humans supersede any other one animal. And I think at the end of the day, yes, Harambe probably wasn't actually being violent to the kid, but the kid's life was in jeopardy. And I don't know if you could just run the risk of de-escalating this.
Yeah. Well, many theorize that this death of Harambe caused a timeline hop, or some dimension hop, that made the world shittier.
R.I.P. Harambe. Mm-hmm. What was it? Sipping on some Bombay. I think that's going to be the outro song. Strike. I think that's going to be the outro song for this episode.
Oh, yeah, if we have rights. It's probably like $1 million to use that shit. But this, this theory of Harambe causes a timeline jump, I don't even know if I fully disagree with, because there is something, of course, COVID, but there's just been something markedly crappier, I feel, about stuff. Am I wrong in that? I don't know.
I think you are. I think our lives have gotten noticeably better individually. Now, the chaos outside may look worse and worse each year, but our individual experiences have actually gotten better.
But it's been hard though, right?
Yeah, I mean, compared to what? I don't
know. I felt like in 2016, I was having a good time in 2016.
I mean, you gotta think about like a 30-year-old in 1943 lost their parents to the first like Great War and then lived through the Great Depression and then had to go fight the Nazis. And they weren't like they shot that gorilla and you know what I mean?
Maybe they
like
were.
our hard time is soft.
Yeah.
It's a soft hard time.
All right. Dang.
Sorry, I came at you like a
Dang,
silverback gorilla, and you're like a small child that fell into my enclosure.
You're gonna get freaking gotten. All right. This one's about a polar bear named Binky.
I like him already.
Sounds innocent.
Like him already.
Not. This is in the Anchorage Zoo in 1994, where an Australian tourist named Catherine Warburton climbed 2 fences to snap a photo of Binky. So she climbed into the enclosure. The fences.
You put her on blast. Full name, full Christian name.
When you make decisions, you make decisions. And this
when you
is
fuck with Binky, you get the blinky. Am I right?
Wow. She didn't need that. So polar bears are really dangerous.
Yeah.
This one was 1,200 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And Binky bit her leg.
Being attacked by something named like Binky is like, and then Fluffy ripped her throat out.
Binky bit her leg, breaking it, and kept her shoe for 3 days as a trophy. The shoe was later displayed in a local bar, and Binky became a media star with merchandise. So this dangerous stunt turned into a quirky Alaskan legend.
But Catherine lived.
She did.
Just a broken leg. She still got the leg?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she made it out fine.
She's fine.
Yeah. She made it out fine. That's a story.
A 1,200-pound polar bear is small.
I don't think he wanted to kill her. I feel like if he could have gotten a leg, he could have gotten all of Catherine. So,
actually, it says male polar bears typically weigh 550 to 1,700 pounds.
So you put him on blast?
Yeah, I thought they were a lot bigger, but so I guess 1,200 was regular. But she did okay. She's very lucky, but
just like a woman to think regular size is small. Am I right, fellas?
But I do kind of happen to think about natural selection with this story.
Mm-hmm.
Where if you go to a zoo and then there's safety barricades and you climb over the safety barricades.
You know what it reminds me of? The woman who climbed over the fences at Six Flags. I can't remember why she did it. She climbed over the fences at Six Flags to get something that fell off a ride, I think. And somebody's foot like hit her in the head and kicked her head straight off. Kicked her head straight off. It was either a kid climbed over
I feel messed
and then
up
a woman. I think it might have been a kid climbed over and then a woman. Yeah, well, you know, it was the Batman ride where like your feet dangle down. But if you jump over fences that you know has a dangerous thing over it, whatever happens to you after that is 100% your fault.
And for anybody who is in that situation, this is the right protocol: is you wait. You tell somebody who works there, and when the ride stops, they will go retrieve your item. That's the protocol.
Dude.
That sucks, man.
Yeah.
You think you're having an average day at a theme park, all of a sudden you're decapitated.
Dude, that's a wild thing to tell.
All of a sudden.
And you know when you got a cast on, and everybody's like, what happened? You're going to be like, oh, I 3-point field goal kicked a child's skull off.
It was a woman, you said. It wasn't a kid.
I can't remember. I think it was...
There's no way.
Either it was a woman on the ride and like a 16-year-old kid, or vice versa. But I remember that it was like a dude and a girl. Oh man. It says Caleb Schwab, a 10-year-old boy, was decapitated. Oh, dang.
That might be a different story. Oh, it was a teenager. Yeah, and it was in Six Flags Over Georgia.
Yeah. I remember when this happened.
Good Lord.
I was like in high school or a freshman. Not a freshman, but I had just graduated high school or in high school. And they were like, a dude got his head. So it was a woman who was on the ride. She broke her leg. Dang.
That's honestly, theme parks really scare me. We could do a whole episode on like theme park mishaps, but... Back to the zoo.
Mariah, write it down.
Write it down, Mariah. Swearing parrots. This is a good one. So 5 African gray parrots named Billy, Eric, Tyson, Jade, and Elsie were separated for encouraging each other to swear at visitors. I'd pay good money for that. Their foul-mouthed antics amused guests but worried staff about kid-friendly vibes. The I mean...
The juice? Freudian slip. Dang.
Oh, I mean the zoos. The zoo's chief said it brought smiles during a tough year, making the hilarious case of animals outsmarting decorum.
You know what it reminds me of?
What?
Is, like, if you ever go to Cracker Barrel and they have the little shop and then there's the corner that has all the toys. There's, like, one of the toys that's very commonly there is a parrot that you can record.
Oh, yeah.
And when we were kids, we'd always be like, butthole. And like, so if you walked past it, it'd be like a little parrot going, butthole, butthole, butthole. We're like, we're the coolest kids in this Cracker Barrel.
Isn't that so funny that 5 parrots were just guys like, watch this, guys. Your name's a hoot. Have you
seen the one that's the parrots are like, yes, yes, don't stop. Yes, keep going. And you're like, dang, dude, what is this parrot scene?
I've not seen that. I've not. All right. So in 2007, Tatiana, a 350-pound Siberian tiger, leaped a 20-foot wall and a 15-foot moat at the San Francisco Zoo on Christmas Day, mauling 3 men, killing one after they taunted her with rocks.
They were kids. They were like high schoolers.
So they were at the zoo?
Yeah, so it was high schoolers and they were like throwing like pine cones and stuff at the tiger. Joe Rogan has like a whole bit about it where he talks about how this is the most dangerous creature in the jungle and you didn't think to put a lid on its box?
Wow. So I didn't know that the kids were taunting it, but it jumped out of its enclosure. Mm-hmm. The wall was found to be 4 feet below safety standards, and this led to a fine and a new 19-foot glass barrier. But my thing is, if you're gonna go fuck with an animal like that,
good.
It has every right to kill you.
Good.
That's my opinion.
Good.
Animals are not here for our amusement. They are here because they are conscious beings.
That's not true. This one is.
Yes.
These boys are.
Okay, let me stop. They are conscious beings who think and feel and deserve love, and they're here having their own experience on Earth.
Yeah.
And we shall walk in respect with them.
And we're going to put cute clothes on them, and we're going to take pictures of them, and we're going to tell them that we love them, and we're going to rub their bellies.
If you put me in an enclosure and you throw rocks at me, I'm going to get out and beat your ass.
She's going to rip your throat out.
So I'm all for that tiger doing what it needed to do and proving what it needed to prove.
Good.
And the sad part is it probably got...
I think the kid who was like throwing the stuff didn't even die. I do think he got messed up, but I think his buddy died. So now you gotta like walk around with the guilt of like, I got my buddy killed because I was doing something I thought was like cute or funny.
In the most like prehistoric way possible too.
Dude.
A saber tooth just jumps out. All right. This one's called Penguin's Tokyo Adventure. And this is from Tokyo Sea Life Park in 2012. A Humboldt penguin escaped its enclosure and
murdered 10 children.
And spent 3 months waddling around Tokyo Bay, spotted swimming freely before recapture.
Aww.
So the 1-year-old fugitive was in good health, proving penguins can handle city life in this charming tale of aquatic rebellion. So do you think he just went and like got a hotel room and then like went to a couple of bars, smoked some cigars?
Do you think somebody made like a manga where they were like, Flamingo's Day Out, and they made like an anime?
I hope so.
I do too. I like to think of it. You know what it reminds me of?
What?
Is, I keep saying, you know what it reminds me of? This is my third.
Just say it.
Anyway, I saw an internet story where a dog escaped and then like came back 9 hours later and won like a dog pageant and had like a ribbon on. And they're like, the dog escaped, disappeared for like 9 hours. And then when he came back, he had a ribbon on him for second place in a dog show.
Did you hear the one about the dog who, and I don't know if it was somebody's dog that escaped or it was a dog that ran off, that ran the marathon?
Oh yeah, I remember. I heard about that.
Yeah, there's a dog that just joined a human marathon and just like was step in step with everybody. This one is about an orangutan named Ken Allen, which is a very interesting orangutan name. Orangutan.
This is my orangutan. His name is Roger Smith.
Orangutans are already so human-like. It makes it 10 times creepier when you give them a legal name, a legal business name.
Ken Allen sounds like the orangutan has business cards and sells insurance.
Ken Allen sounds like one of those accident lawyers.
Or like a dealership, like the Ken Allen.
Call 855 Ken Allen if you've ever been fucked up in a car accident.
We're not gonna monkey around with your case. You're like, I was like, all right, dude, this orangutan he's got it going on.
So he became a legend for repeated escapes, using branches like crowbars, and even teaching another orangutan to break out. Sounds like Snuffles.
I was about to say, it sounds like Schnoffles.
Yes, which if you haven't seen the YouTube video, Schnoffles Escapes, go to YouTube, Google Schnoffles Escapes. It will change your life. So Ken Allen's antics earned him a fan club and an obituary in the LA Times when he died in 2000. And he was a mastermind primate making zookeepers look silly. Who's being observed now? It's very meta.
It's just him like tying their shoelaces together. When they try to catch him, they fall.
Throwing bananas and they slip on the banana peel. It sounds very Home Alone. Drunk zoo chaos. London zoos have these parties called zoo lates that let guests drink near animal enclosures and get really drunk, leading to chaos.
I'm sure that's going to work out.
This was in 2014. I think maybe they did this once, but they banged on the glass, punched birds, and poured beer on a tiger.
What?
One tried swimming with penguins.
Which is a reasonable thing to do. I think punching the birds is kind of effed up. But the swimming with the penguins are we not guilty? Each of us in our own hearts.
People, seriously. So this led to, of course, public outcry, and PETA petitions ended the boozy event. So I guess it was like more than one thing.
What does Middle Eastern bread have to do with this? This PETA is petitioning.
PETA, who has its own issues as an organization. But it petitioned to end the boozy events in 2015. And this is just an example of like a very reckless and dumb idea of like, let's get drunk around all these animals and be dickheads.
PETA's one of those organizations that like at the some of it I'm 100% on board, where they're like, let these animals free and don't torture and you're like, all right, cool. And they're like, also dogs can be cops, and they're like giving way too many rights. It's like every cat should get to vote in local elections. And you're like, all right, you guys gotta cut it out.
This one we might cut because it's kind of dark. So
darker than kicking a child's head off at Six Flags?
I mean, it's similar. So an African painted dog tragedy at the Pittsburgh Zoo in 2012. A 2-year-old boy fell into the African painted dog exhibit, which African painted dogs are kind of like hyenas.
Okay. I was like, who's painting these dogs and why are they at the zoo?
Let me show you a picture of one.
We'll have Mariah superimpose.
This is what they look like.
Oh yeah, they do look like hyenas.
Yeah, so they're basically hyenas. So a 2-year-old boy fell in this exhibit when a mom perched him on a railing.
Oh my god.
The kid fell in and the pack attacked and killed the child when it fell. Despite zookeepers' efforts to intervene, they shot one dog and the exhibit was later removed. So this is a heartbreaking lesson in zoo safety.
Pack attack would be like a dope name for a roller derby team.
That's like the shit that makes me think Florida's gone off the rails, if anybody didn't know. But it just it reminds me of those things about people telling stories about them being with their baby and then an alligator just like comes out and, you know.
Well, don't dangle your child. This is, again, respect the fence.
Well, there's in Florida, there's these bodies of water that look like ponds, but they can conceal an alligator. But it's just a rule of thumb, if you're walking and you have a small animal with you or a child and you walk by this pond, it's not safe. I mean, alligators can.
There's that baby got snatched at Disney World.
By an alligator?
Yeah, because the Disney World, there's like a huge pond in Disney World that's infested with alligators. Infested.
That sounds that's the mecca of kids. That sounds very unsafe.
Why do you think alligators live there? They're like free lunch. You know Disney kids are plump too. Yeah.
You feed them all those
those
cotton candies and stuff. So this one's a little bit funnier.
I like Anna's idea of what Disney World food for children is it's like fairground. You're like cotton candy and candy
cakes.
Peanuts.
Funnel cakes. Yeah.
No, they're handing out filet mignon to these children.
Yeah, it's like a $75 filet mignon. Honestly, I heard it's really expensive there, but
yeah.
This one is an unknown zoo, but I've heard about this and it's really funny. But a gorilla named Zuri picked up a knife that dropped in her enclosure, and everybody started panicking because this girl was just holding a knife, just going up to people.
And I practiced my stabbing.
This prompted panic. Her companion Barika demanded it, and I guess companion means zookeeper. But Zuri backed off after a chest-pounding standoff of the girl just holding the knife, and the keeper being like, "No, Zuri. No, Zuri, just drop it. Just drop it."
Have you ever tried to get something important from a dog before?
Of course. It's my favorite activity.
It seems to me that this gorilla may have not known what a knife was and was just feeding off how everybody was reacting. So in the gorilla's head, it's just like, oh, look how goofy the humans get when I wave this around. Yeah. And we're like, put the knife down, gorilla. Nobody's got to get hurt.
Yeah. Finally, the zookeeper retrieved the knife, and then an image of a gorilla wielding a blade is just pure gold. Mm-hmm. So let me see if there's actually an image of it.
Oh, dang. He going at it. Yeah, he's holding it like you would hold a knife. He's not confused about what it looks like to threaten somebody with a knife.
That's so funny. This one's called the alpaca spit attack that happened at an unknown zoo. A visitor fed an alpaca at a spitting zoo, only for it to sneeze and spit food all over their face, leaving them screaming. Okay, well, let's cut that.
All that seems like common knowledge, though.
Yeah, we're cutting that. Goo the panda's triple attack. Beijing Zoo, 2006 to 2009. So I think this is something people forget about pandas because they're so cute and cuddly and clumsy. They're still bears. They can still rock your world. They can still...
They're not technically bears, but yes.
They can handle stuff. Goo, a 240-pound panda at Beijing Zoo, bit 3 visitors in separate incidents. In 2006, now that it's 2025, it's trying to say an early 2000s day is hard. It's hard to not say 2006. You got me?
Yeah, sure.
It's just hard. In 2006, a drunk tourist jumped in to cuddle him. All these fucking idiots, man. He got leg bites. In 2007, a 15-year-old boy was mauled at feeding time with bones exposed. Yikes. In 2009, a dad fell into the enclosure, retrieving a toy, and Gugu's jaws had to be pried open.
Gugu was not messing around, dude.
So, yeah, if anybody sees a wild panda, I don't even know if wild pandas exist, but don't go up to it and mess with it. It'll maul you.
I thought it was crazy because Anna's got these listed, and then that one was Panda Attack 2006 to 2009. I'm like, when do you stop the attacks? And this panda is just on an attack spree for 3 years.
He kept somebody in a basement.
He's like the Rambo of pandas, just up in the woods.
In 1935, at the Long Island Zoo, Reese's monkeys escaped. This was led by a monkey named Capone. I guess he was the ringleader.
Makes sense.
So up to 175 Reese's monkeys escaped when a zookeeper left a board across their moat during cleaning. They roamed for days, with some reports saying they mobbed the keeper, while others called it a wholesome breakout. The zoo offered season passes for their return, but it's unclear if all were caught. which is just chaos, having 175 Reese's monkeys. Just,
I mean,
it's like Jumanji.
Just chocolate and peanut butter everywhere. Am I right?
So silly. Yeah, it's like Jumanji. You remember that when all the monkeys came out?
Yeah.
Jumanji's a great movie, isn't it?
Why don't? Yes.
Give it 10 out of 10.
10.
10 out of 10.
10. Jumanji is a perfect film. I don't know
Peak
what.
Robin Williams.
Mariah, pull it up. See what Jumanji is on Rotten Tomatoes.
It better be freaking 100 or I quit right now. Remember when they tried to bring it back? They did.
They made like 3 more.
They
You don't.
made 3 more.
Yes.
What? I'm talking about the one with The Rock.
Yeah, there's at least 2 of those, if not 3.
Jumanji has a 52% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
You guys are psychopaths.
Wow, I've lost hope in
If you
humanity.
rated Jumanji, you're a psycho. That is a perfect movie. God, people. Okay. Tyke, an elephant, a 20-year-old African elephant, killed her trainer and injured 13 others during a circus performance in Hawaii, then fled into the streets. Police had to fire 87 bullets to stop her,
Damn.
then ending her life. This is when the allegations of abuse surfaced, highlighting circus cruelty. And so this is a very tragic and chaotic story. But this is another kind of SeaWorld-esque example where circus animals are often mistreated. And elephants are super smart.
Yeah, I feel like the smarter the animal, the more likely it'll murder you because you've kept it in a box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this elephant, I can't say I blame it either. Because if you were a slave and you were being beaten and made to perform and do tricks, wouldn't you snap?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think I would. Day one. I'm 30 minutes in.
I think about snapping now, and I'm none of those
in.
things.
Right? We just have to go to work.
I'm like a regular person with all my own freedoms, and I'm like, today's the day.
I know. We just have to do regular jobs, and I'm like having to hold myself back from a lifetime in prison.
We'll cut that.
Flamingo's Great Escape. The Kansas Zoo. An African flamingo slipped out of a Kansas zoo and vanished. And 8 years later, in 2013, birdwatcher Neil Hayward spotted it 650 miles away on Texas Gulf Coast, living free. The flamingo's long-distance adventure is the lighthearted tale of survival and defiance, which shows that maybe some who do escape can live full lives like that penguin and this flamingo. But that's kind of all I got for you.
That seems like enough.
That seems like enough. That's all I got. I mean, it's just zoos are precarious. Animals, I care a lot about them, and I just want them to be treated well.
Yeah,
So
we got to shut down the Joe Exotic type of zoos and kind of lift up the ones that do good work.
Yeah,
that's the moral of the story. The moral of today's story is 1. Respect fences. Just respect. If there's a fence, don't put anything on it. Don't get over it. Respect the fence. And 2, put a lid on that box. Just put a lid on that box. That's all we ask.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got a bunch of dangerous things in the same proximity.
And don't punch these birds.
Don't punch. If you punched a bird.
Don't punch these birds, dude.
Ew.
You want to talk about an ick?
Ew.
People who punch birds.
Immediate ick.
Green flag.
Should not be allowed to reproduce.
Swimming with penguins. Be the swimming with penguins type of person and not the punching birds type of person.
You know where I would be if I got drunk in the zoo?
Let me think. No.
I feel like you do.
Think the otter, the otter enclosure. Yeah,
I'd be drunk swimming with the otters, being like tickling their little bellies.
Remember when we were at the zoo and those 2 gigantic tortoises were having sex? There's just these huge tortoises on each other, and the one kept thrusting, and every time he thrusted, he would go. And then a little kid goes, he sounds just like Grandpa. I was like, bro, what are you doing with your grandpa? What are you and your grandpa getting into?
And so we were there, and we were just obviously laughing. But no one else was laughing, you remember? We were like the only ones dying laughing, but it was freaking hilarious because the turtles were banging, and then... You remember?
I do remember.
I was like, what's wrong with these people? This is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
But
the Atlanta Zoo is a crazy place.
Yeah, well, Atlanta's a crazy place, so reasons to believe.
That checks out.
Well, this has been our wonderful, fun-filled zoo. Well, not fun-filled, but zoo adventure. Come back for more.
Just remember to respect the animals. Just remember to do that.
Respect the animals. Respect the fence.
Yeah. Burger!